Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vega here for SerpentX Tech, and it's time for our monthly series of what was the most profitable cryptocurrency to mine throughout the month of July 2025, taking 6 RTX 3060 Ti's from NVIDIA and putting them against 6 RX 6600 XTs from AMD. Kind of the mid-range GPUs, middle of the pack, easy to get set up, 6 cards on a rig. What are they making right now at time of filming? Well, if we look at hashrate.no, they're still only making around $3, $2, somewhere in that range, depending on the currency that you're mining. But Epic Cash, Meowcoin, Qua, Evermore, Firo, some of these coins have climbed up recently, but they have not been as consistent. Now, when you calculate electricity at the national average here in the United States of 15 cents per kilowatt hour, that's only 20-cent profit, 13-cent profit, 14-cent profit, depending. On the AMD side of things, again, not as much as NVIDIA, right? Where they're close to $3, high $2, maybe low $2. The highest AMD one is about $1.30, $1.25, $1.20, and then after electricity, 15 cent, 10 cent, 11 cent profit. So you'll see as you go further down on the chart. So like the top 4, you're profitable with the national average of cost of electricity, but after that, it's -1 cent, -5 cent, 10 cents, so much more. Whereas on NVIDIA, we do have a little bit more. We at least have the top 5 before we go back into the negatives. Now, mining, GPU mining as a whole, has been argued to be dead, and I understand that. But the GPU system, or the way to make profits with your GPUs, have transitioned. A lot of people, as you're going to see from my colleagues, have moved to AI implementation, whether it's Vast, Clore, Salad, whatever it might be. And yes, to really make decent money, you need a system that is not using riser cards that have 1x PCIe, but instead a by 4 or higher PCIe of like Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, so on and so forth. And you're really looking at more of the higher end GPUs. But I'm making decent bank on Salad with my 3060. I've been making decent amount with the 3060 as well on Clore Linux distribution. And so there's different ways to optimize your gains. However, this series is focusing on the profitability of GPUs. So what were the top 10 most profitable cryptocurrencies to mine with both the NVIDIA and AMD? Well, they're as follows. Qua, or QAI, however you want to pronounce it, has been climbing back up in the chart for the month of July. Xano, Firo, Grin, Meowcoin, Clore, Eternity, Cortex, Ravencoin, and Flux. So a lot of the OGs coming back. I saw Zealous, however you want to pronounce it, actually making a decent comeback in July, but it did fall out of the top 10. Dynex as well, and Ergo. Ergo was showing in the top 10, I believe, last month, but not this month. On the AMD side of things, Clore, Qua, Grin, Meowcoin, Firo, Xano, Neoxa, Epic Cash, Ravencoin, NurAI, and then you got Beam, Dynex, and Flux again rounding out outside the 10. But a lot of these projects like Qua, like Qua came back, Grin, and even Firo, right? Firo is an OG in the space, and it's in the top 4 on the AMD side of things, the top 3 on the NVIDIA side of things. I think right now at time of filming, it's number 5 on NVIDIA, and it fell down quite hard on the AMD side of things. But that's why hashrate.no, if you look very carefully, has included the volume here, right? Because some of these coins may be profitable, but there's not a lot of volume. So the moment you go to try to sell those assets, especially if you're one to immediately sell every 24 hours, every day, every week, every few days, the volume might not be there in order to execute your trade at that profitability range. So you have to bear that in mind as you continue to mine. Yes, GPU mining is not as profitable as it used to be, but there are other ways to optimize your setup, and my colleagues have done many great videos on that, so I leave that to them. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to let me know. But as far as what were the most profitable, those are your top 10. If you had a mixed rig mining, Qua is looking good right now. It sucks that you're delayed in actual payment for so long. Firo climbing back up, Grin on the top on both sides, Meowcoin as well. I still been kind of mining Zealous off and on. I'm hoping that the project does well in the future. It had a nice little pump there in the past. And of course, the whole entire market's down, so the altcoins take the hit, and the proof of work coins take an even bigger hit because there's always that sell pressure from the miners to try to go ahead and maximize their profits and capitalize on what they can convert to pay for their overhead. However, if you are not paying for electricity, that changes everything. All right, if we go to the settings wheel in the upper right here, and I change this to 0, right, because you're using solar, you maybe are in a college dorm, whatever it might be, you're not paying for electricity, then obviously that's $3 in your pocket a day, $2.90, $2.86, $2.70, $2 overall on the NVIDIA side, and then on the AMD side, $1.30 to maybe $1, depending on the currency that you're mining a day that you can accumulate. And if you're not one to sell right away, then you could stack that up, and when the market does turn positive, you wind up being a lot better than what it was before if you are on renewables or you don't have to pay for the electricity bill. Don't be a jerk, by the way. You know what word I was going to use. If you are renting out an Airbnb or something like that and you're just using their electricity, don't be a jerk. Dorm, I guess it wouldn't be such a big deal unless you're pulling like a bunch of power of ASICs, but just be mindful of that. But if you're on renewables and you're not paying for the cost of electricity, then you're ahead. But that is the data for the month of July 2025. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you're mining down in the comment section below, and do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button, make sure to get subscribed, hit notification bell to stay up to date. So let's check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here, and you just have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. I'll catch you in the next one.